Good morning, Laura. Hello. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Bama. What's going on? Hi, Lori. Hello. Grand morning, Annette. I see that. I see. Hi, Gigi. Good morning, Sonia. Happy Monday. Hi, Mary. Susan. Happy Monday morning. Good morning. Hello, all. I probably slept for about 5 hours straight, but you know how my body's doing. Like, my body's like, what the hell is happening? So I get up and I let the aides go about 6. Bonjour, comment ça va? So I get up, lately because my body's so out of whack. Hi in San Diego. We are, so 5:30, I get up and I just toss around because they leave at 6. So now by 6, so I kind of toss and turn till about 5:45, and then I get up, and meet her out there. So we have a new one tonight. Typically, she comes back. Ashria comes back on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think. So we have a couple of aides. We have a new one tonight and a new one Tuesday. So far so good. It's been great. Thank you, Kathy. Hi, Brian. He's doing well, Me and Andrew worked with him a lot yesterday with getting up, getting down, trying to walk, because that's what's going to make him stronger. I got to get better bed rails, although I think we have a system with the bed right now. I had to order a couple more things, like a pad for his wheelchair. My friend Lynn sent it to me because I couldn't get it. So he had a better night. He was up all day yesterday. The man didn't sleep 1 week. He would doze off and we'd say, do you want to go to bed? Let's go take a nap. No, I'm fine. He would doze off and then he would be up. So he was up all day. All day. Yeah. Crazy. This guy, is amazing. He's a tank. He's a freaking tank. So, yeah. So me and Andrew has been a godsend to me. Yes, Crystal, he's so happy. Hi, Pat. To make them comfortable, I got a new topper for his bed. That should be coming. Yeah, Andrew has been kicking some ass. Yesterday, Dan was very frustrated yesterday with things that he was trying to do, and he had Grandpa with him while I took a nap, and then I went and ran out and got my wine and got him some beer and made my rounds with some errands, and he was just really antsy. So in between, for so much from the end, once I was back, I had Ed. So Andrew and I worked with him a lot, and I need to get him strong, so I can get to Vegas and he can be in a better place. So still waiting on the poop. We're on Poop Watch 2025. So now that's going to be interesting, So Poop Watch, haven't pooped. So today could be a little hairy, if you know what I mean. So I'm not looking forward to that. Normal Poop Watch is still Poop Watch, but he was able to stand and he was able to do the things. Bend if we needed him to bend, and move nooks and crannies and all that stuff. So Poop Watch. So when does he get his catheter out? That's a good question. So at some point this week, he has to go to, he has medication from that, but we just haven't been double dosing because we need to, normally on a given day before fall, we double dose on his, helping mechanisms, you know what I mean? And so we just kind of haven't been double dosing. They double dosed in the hospital, But yeah, let them clean it, you know? I don't want to do it. So he gets 1 dose. Today, I think we're gonna double dose. So no, we know how to get him to poop, but it's just gonna be a little bit more difficult. So it was kind of, you know, yeah, anyhow, poop watch. Yeah, now Dion was like, we're gonna have to double up. So I didn't like the color of his urine yesterday. So all afternoon I was really pumping him with liquids, and it got better. So it's just, you know, in the afternoon he was starting to sundown, kept trying to get up out of the chair. So every time Andrew and I have a good system, every time he starts getting fidgety, we just get him up. We get him up. So he starts getting really fidgety in the afternoon. Andrew's like, Mom, every time he does that, let's get him up. Because it makes him really tired. It makes him work a lot more. So get him up. So he's been really good. Is it Gina? Tell us how to get fat. Eat. Yeah. So as far as the catheter, I think he may have to go see a urologist this week, and then that's when they're gonna check it, and if there's still trauma and inflammation, they're going to do a little pokey through. You know what I mean? A little poke. Whoop! Through the, woo! Yeah. So he's not getting bed sores. He only sleeps during the day. So he's up. So I got him a little cushion for his tush, for the wheelchair. And he moves around too much to get a bed sore. You guys, come on. The guy's Mr. Fidget. So little boop. Yeah, through the urethra. All the men grabbing their penises right now. So little pokey poke through the channel of the peen. Yeah, gotta open things up. So anyhow, he's doing good. Will a night nurse be with him from now on? Good question. But not for $10,000, $12,000 a month. No. As he gets stronger, it'll be a little bit different, but even Dan said yesterday, you know, we're gonna have to have somebody. So we'll probably keep the agency on for 3 days a week. And then the other days we might hire privately, so it'll be a little bit cheaper. Dan's like, there's no way we can go back to no sleep with, you know, all this stuff. So we're trying to, you know, just take it day by day. You know, this is all you can do, you know. By the end of the day, he was walking a little bit better, taking a little bit more steps. And I think because it's Ed, it's like the bionic man, you know? So it's crazy. It does not have to be a nurse. Some of the people that we have are CNAs, you know, from these agencies. They're CNAs or they're certificated, they're home health care aides. So, so this is just a company, which I enjoy because I just don't want some stranger in my house without them being licensed and bonded. So I'm kind of gonna probably reach out to a couple of people that I know and ask if they want to help. I'll pay Andrew. He can take a couple nights a week and at night with him because Andrew's up a lot. Isn't that cute, Maria? Yeah, it's not on my Stab merch, but it's something I can design, I think, because everybody loves it. So, you know, it's just a day by day. Am I going to Vegas? I have to go to Vegas, you guys. It's, you know, we're still 10 days away, so it's still, you know, we have 10 days of rehab, and then we have the nurses can come in at night and help Dan, and then Andrew. So by then I'm hoping he's standing a little bit, but I have to go for myself. And, I have like 40 or 50 people, coming. I mean, I can't. It's just gonna have to. Does Medicare help? Medicare pays for his medical, but no, it doesn't pay for anything else. Andrew has been wonderful. Andrew's an empath, right? And so when he needs help, he steps up to the place. His cognition is not any worse. Not at all. So he's great. Maybe he will use a walker now. Probably not. Probably not. You guys have to realize for Ed, he doesn't think he's 93. He doesn't have the ability to retain much in a 3-second span. So it is important that walker he probably will never use. He will never understand to use it. And I don't think walkers are any safer than walking, because you got to understand how to use the brake. You think he's going to have the mental capacity to use a brake? No, not at all. So it's probably not something that's going to be feasible. Well, Lori, that's the chance, right? I mean, here's the problem. Everybody says you got to be careful. Well, no shit. I mean, you have to be careful because he could break another bone. The odds are, Lori, he's going to fall again. The odds are he's going to fall at some point. And it's nothing you can do about it. You can only do the best you can and deal with it as best you can. You can't force it. So maybe he'll be in a wheelchair, for the rest of his life. I don't know. But it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's just one of those things like the fireman said. He will fall again. He will fall again. So just know, if he falls again, you call us. We'll come pick him up, assess him, and determine what's best. He's like, you can't assume that he's not. You're not there 24/7. You guys can't be. Nobody can be, So it's probably going to happen. And it's just when, we don't know. We just hope it doesn't happen soon. So if he falls, it's on the family. If he fell on our watch, you guys. I mean, fuck, he fell on our watch. He slipped out of the bed yesterday. I mean, shit's gonna happen. He's 93, he doesn't understand what the fuck is happening. So, he's taking calcium, yeah. It could fall in a nursing home, he can fall in a rehabilitation center, he can fall just about anywhere. So, you guys, it's nobody's fault, When I had to tell Dan, well, you can see he's safer at home, because he's so much happy. The cognition of him being home is so much different. He was half dead in the hospital. He was half fucking dead. And the minute he drove in the driveway, he had the biggest fucking smile on his face. He was so happy. He was up for 4.5 hours the minute we got him home. He hadn't seen that much time up collaboratively in the hospital, right? Yesterday, for those of you new coming in, he didn't sleep all fucking day. He didn't sleep all fucking day. He was up. Ed, do you want to go go lay down and take a nap? Nope, I'm fine. He was up. The cognition to have him home is so much better. We're going to take the risk, right? Because there's risk everywhere. Everywhere. You won't, yeah, he would die, Pearl. He wouldn't have come so far if he wasn't with family, as he's progressing. We still have hurdles. But for his mind, God, I mean, if you guys could only see him. I wanted to kill him yesterday from about 3:30 to 4:45, but I didn't, so he's alive to see another day, because he wants to get out, he wants to get out of the wheelchair. He thinks he could just get up and walk, you know? So we strapped him in, and I had to go back for about, an hour and 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and do the whole rigmarole. You broke your hip. You're broken. You want to go back to the hospital? No. Okay, well, sit your ass down. And then I would get back in the kitchen, and then you could hear him. He hates it. Well, I can't get out. Well, no shit. You're not supposed to get out. So, it's crazy. So he has a hospital bed. Yes, it has rails on it. Not long enough. So I'm going to call the company today to see if we can get longer rails, because his rails are like right here, and he's a fidgeter, so we need him a little lower. Oh, hi Arno. Yeah, so we're gonna assess. So if he's doing better in 2 weeks, we will, we don't know. As far as care, we're just kind of winging. We have something in place right now. We'll wait for a week, start reassessing what we need, if we can find and lessen our costs for Ed, for future, It's hard, Susan. You do, the best you can. No fall mats, absolutely not. Every fall prevention, unit from the fire department says, hell no, no mats, because he's a tripping hazard, you guys. He drags his feet. It's not good. The way we have it, people are like, well, he can slip. Well, no shit. That's probably what happened when he fell and broke his hip. But you got to understand, rugs are just as much, or mats are just as much of a hazard. So we're just trying, we're trying to do the best we can. I bought a bed alarm. I don't need that right now, but I bought it. It's here. But he's sitting with people. I don't need the alarm, but I bought one. Y'all, simmer down. And that's what we're doing. Ed fell. He fell going to the bathroom. So I don't know when PT comes. Dan was in the hospital during the day. So the nurse came yesterday, checked on him, gave us some helpful tips with the cath and all that other stuff. So the whole thing you have to remember is that, Ed's money is there for these reasons, but he's still alive. So we also have to be very cautious with how we spend it. So this agency is just too expensive, right? So we will probably definitely keep them on for 2 to 3 days a week, and then hire outside for a little bit cheaper. So the nurse came in yesterday because it's hard for him to stand, so I can't really shower him like we used to. So I'm sponge bathing him literally waist up and legs down, but I can't really. It's hard to take care of him from the midsection. So he's going to recommend that we get a bather coming in during the week, a couple times a week, just so we can make sure and get, all the, and it's really hard. It's really hard to, shower. He's still cath. So, I just don't want to mess with that. So yes, so we'll have a bather hopefully come in at least once this week and maybe twice next week. And hoping his cath comes out and it'll start being easier, So our caregiver for mom's dementia, yeah, right now it's 38 here. It really helps. So I see that, Sam. I see that. So yes, it's wonderful to have help. It's like I haven't known what it's like to go to bed without stress. So the last couple nights, the night before, the first night I was a little stressed because, I had a stranger in my house. Literally, I have no idea. Last night, it still was just an element of relaxation because I could let things go, I didn't have to worry about listening for him. The first night I listened, last night I didn't. So I watched half of 1923, and then I went to bed. Yeah, I have those bath wipes, but for him, I use a washcloth and baby soap, and I just kind of clean him all over. I like those better. I don't like, the wipes have like a film, and I'd much rather use soap. I'm just weird with that. They're making a hustle because no, it never gave me a sense of relief, Nick, because I was there all night long. I was there all night long. Nanny, I know. And that's why I'm sticking with my trip plans. And then I hope Dan will leave at the end of the month and get his time with his guys. And I'll do anything to make that happen because we both need a little break because it's been a trying month. Thanks, Pat. My couch 10 feet from my mother-in-law's. Yeah, they're fast. And typically eventually causes you to die. Yes, Jonas, it does. But when he can't pee on his own, a catheter is the safest solution, right? There's pros and cons to everything. You guys, I don't want to dwell on the things that could happen. Let's focus on the positivity. The dwelling drives me nuts because trust me, we know all the potential risks of everything, but I don't want to harp on, but he could get this, but he could do that. His care is done through his doctors, the nursing staff, PT, so it's being handled. And we take one issue as we can at a time. And right now, our issue is getting him up, getting him moving, and getting him strong. So we have to wait. He's had a lot of trauma in his urethra. A lot of trauma in his urethra. Tons. Being cath, not cath, cath, not cath, cath, not cath, Foley, because he's not peeing on his own. So when you have that inflammation in there and you have an enlarged prostate, guess what happens? Yeah, you can't pee. So he has a Foley right now, and eventually at some point he's going to the urologist this week, and they will handle. They will handle. So anyhow, yeah. So it's horrible, So right now it's helpful because we don't have to try to get him on the bathroom to the toilet because he's not strong yet. So it is also very nice to not have that obligation for every 10 seconds as much as Ed wants to pee. Emily, Ed doesn't really watch TV in his room. He hasn't. The caregiver has. So he's sleeping when he's in his room. So far, he's not sleeping during the day in his room. He's up in a wheelchair. So yeah, no, he's not, Pat, surprisingly, because I'm keeping his undergarment on and I'm keeping pants on him. So it helps with the tug. Because normally if he can feel it, when he was in a hospital gown and he was willy-nilly, everything was hanging, what do guys do? They put their hands in his pants, and then when he feels that, he's trying to tug it out. So no, he does think he needs to pee, Red. He says, I gotta go pee. And he tries to get up. And I'm like, dude, you can't get up. Here's your bag. This is how you do. Insurance does not pay for in-home care. No, that's what Ed's money is for. Him paying for in-home care. You think I could afford that? $10,000 a month for his care? Sheesh. I know. Lisa, my tolerance for the inevitable, like the things that, it's like people don't think we think about all the potential risks of a catheter, of being home, of falling, but people realize that he can fall everywhere. So no long-term care policy, no. So yeah, thanks, Janice. He was very smart with his money. He tried to be. He didn't make a ton of money when he was younger. He retired super early. So he has what he has. And what he has is to care for himself. And he probably has enough until, he passes. So that's what his money's for. And that's why He lives with family. Yeah, it's $10K a month just for an evening. Yeah, so if we had full-time around-the-clock care, it would cost us $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month. Can we take him outside in the wheelchair? Absolutely. But we haven't yet. You guys, he's been home a day and a half. A day and a half. And it hasn't been nice weather. So it's very expensive, yeah. So I know Australia and some of you guys have great care. We don't have that here in California. So the type of Medicare he has does not pay for that shit. Didn't pay for a transport home. Do you know how much money they wanted to charge private pay to get him into a transport? $2,000. $2,000. Dan was like, nope, we will put him in my car, right? So, yeah, that's crazy, Jen. $2,000. And he was on cath, everything. No, it didn't pay for it. So, anyhow, anyhow, he's not what we have is not a nurse. We have a CNA. So, it's crazy. It's crazy what we get charged for care. You know, what happens to the people who can't afford it? You know, what happens to that? Is he in pain? Absolutely not. Everything else hurts him but the hip that he had surgery on. I think he was sore yesterday. Matria gave him some Tylenol. She said, gosh, what time did she say? Early in the morning, because he kept saying, ow. But it wasn't for his leg. I think he's sore, you know, from being lifted up to try to get him up and all that stuff. Is he hungry? He's eating. His biggest meal, actually he ate a lot of breakfast. I made him pancakes yesterday just because he's feeding himself. So it's hard to get him close up to the table. So I didn't want to give him milk. So we gave him some cottage cheese. I made some pancakes from my sourdough discard. Gave him a banana. Good, Lily. He chowed it. He was happy as a clam with some honey on it. He had coffee, had some juice. And lunch, he had half of a Chipotle burrito that my friend Lisa sent us on Saturday. And like 3 cookies throughout the day. And then for dinner, my Zoomies sent us Thai food. Man, he chowed his plate. So I don't give him as much as Bell. See, Ed wouldn't remember to pick up a Bell. No, the state will not pay for Ed. So when you have money and you have over a certain amount, they don't pay. If he didn't have any money, it'd be different, right? So I didn't give him as much Thai food as I normally would have, but what I gave him, I didn't think he was gonna eat. And he chowed down to Funky Town. And then I gave him over a quarter of a crumble cookie that my friend Lisa also sent. And he was in hog heaven. Hog heaven. So eating is not the issue. I think when Ed doesn't eat, that'll be our first sign of, what's going on? Yeah, I worked in LTC in California. Yeah, very true. Yeah, so he is, yes, actually yesterday after lunch, he was like, so, Dan, when are we eating lunch? Hi, Joanna. So, yeah, so anyhow, he's got the money. That's what it's for. You know, that's what I keep telling Dan. Like, deep breath. This is why he saved it, right? And then pay them cash. Yeah, so, and that's why, Janice, we're going to look into keeping the agency, potentially. Thanks, Jeanette. And keeping the agency a couple days a week, and then finding some outside help. Andrew can take a couple days. He needs money, so he can take a couple nights. We'll pay him like we would pay the agency, right? So, and anybody else who we can get to take on some nights, we'll pay them just like we're paying the agency. Oh, surely, I bet. You have to these days. I mean, if they don't have money, you have to sell assets too, because most people can't afford to do that, right? Most people, hi Susan, hello, back from El Grove, California, can't afford to do that. Luckily, she had a house, you know? Luckily, he had lawn care. Yeah, and you're lucky with that because Ed doesn't have lawn care. He has a simple, basic medical plan only. He doesn't get any undergarments. You know, some plans advocate for, you know, certain things, monthly allocations, home care, but not that one. So, yeah, Andrew will get paid like anybody else that we would pay undercover, you know? Like whoever we're gonna pay, he'll get the same amount. He'll get the same amount. So, and he's up anyway. So the nights he doesn't have to wake up early for school, he can take 2 nights and hang out. He can hook up his gaming devices in Grandpa's room. He can play games, and I can trust him. I mean, here's the thing. You know, if you put all of Dan's siblings, you know, on the front line, could they do what we're doing? No, because they have no clue. But Andrew's been around it, and he's been helping since his grandfather. Hi, Jihad. He's been helping his grandfather since he's been home and in the hospital. That boy knows more than his siblings what to do and how to do it. So and now I can include Andrew in that. Thanks, Jonathan. You're sweet. So it's really sad that our country can't help us, you know, the way other countries can. He is the bomb, and he's taking me to my procedure on Wednesday, you know, because Dan can't, he's got to be with his dad. Is upset? No, he's not upset. I thought he would be honoring. No, he was calling her Danielle. When I walked in, she was taking care of the cat, and then I walked in, and he goes, "Oh, Danielle, who's she?" So it was that cognition that he caught himself, you know. Normally he doesn't, you know, make the recognition or correct himself with calling somebody else Danielle when he sees me. So this morning he was like, "Oh, Danielle, who is she?" So I said, "She's helping us, Ed. She's helping us." He is rustic. I mean, Andrew is really, like I told his sisters, I said, you know, he's my rock, honestly. You know, Dan's very easily triggered. He's frustrated. He's, you know, impulsive. He's just Dan, you know. And Andrew helps keep me calm. You know, I told you, I have you know, I'm an empath, so I absorb all the anxious activity. Dan's just an anxious person in a different way than I am. And so it makes me more anxious, right? So Andrew keeps it balanced. Andrew's just different personality than me and Dan combined. He's more like my mom. It's really weird. And Andrew's my rock, people. Like Dan lost his mind yesterday, right? Because he's trying to get a video. That video he uploaded, it took some time. Ed's trying to get up when I was napping. You know, he knew I needed to nap. And so he allowed me to nap, but that meant he had to take care of his dad. And it's taxing, you know, especially when you are, especially, you know, when you're trying to get something done. You know, my biggest frustration with Ed, right, is when I'm trying to do stuff and he wants to fiddle fuck around, right? So Dan was losing his ever-loving mind. Dan was. And Andrew came down, you know? He heard it, he came down, he calms me immediately, and we sit and he helps bring me down, which is good, because in those situations, I need to be brought down. I'm trying to be very patient. I'm trying to not get frustrated with him, but yesterday I did, between 3:30 and whatever time I gave you earlier, because he was, you know, every second I would walk away, okay, that's understandable, and then 2 seconds later, you know, those are hard moments. And Dan had that for, you know, an hour and a half while I napped. So I said, just go for a walk, get out, get some fresh air. So thank God for Andrew, because it would have been ugly between. I would have started yelling at Dan, telling him to chill the fuck out, you know, because I always have to be calm when Dan's on level 12, and it's hard to do that, you know, it's hard to do that. So, hi Ram. Yeah, Andrew has been amazing. And what's really cool is if Hannah was here, Hannah would help, but not in the same way Andrew is. She would be a different help. Jennifer, no interest. No interest. She's putting us in a home. And that's okay, you know. I don't require her to put me, you know, take care of me. I'm not like that. I don't expect, I'm not doing this to show my kids, you know, hey, this is what you need to do for me. I'm doing it because we want to, because we're here and we're doing it. I mean, we made the commitment and we're going to take the commitment to the end. It's hard. It's hard, Pat, because you got to keep him calm, because right now he could really hurt himself, right? So you got to keep him calm, but you know, it's not easy. I mean, I'm not going to sit and blow sunshine up everybody's asses and say, oh, it's great and I'm perfect all the time. I've been pretty perfect since he's been home, until that time frame yesterday. So, hi Frog, how are ya? Andrew's my son, yeah. And somebody, I saw Negative Nancy, and her name was Nancy. She said Negative Nancy, yeah, I called her Nancy. And without just thinking, I called her Negative Nancy. She said I wasn't an empath. Girl, I'm more of an empath than you, and it's quite obvious with your response, because I know you're still watching, because I live rent-free in your head. Because for the people who come in here and tell me what I am or what I'm not, girl, I know you watch me all the time. You should be more like me. You know how to respond to that one. I let that go a while, but as I was talking, but she was going to get it no matter what. Thank you, Jonathan. You are way too sweet. How did I meet him when I was 4 years old? Magic. I just fell into the arms of Ed Salinger, along with my mother. Shit. Anyway, it's a long story, Heather. Go read it on Reddit. But for the corrections, you'll need to hear it from me. Anyway, it's exhausting. Yeah, I'm trying. And Janice, that's why, I mean, I haven't really talked to Dan about Vegas, but I'm going. I mean, I have to. People have paid lots of money to come hang out with me. So we'll have it figured out. I've already prepped Andrew. He's going to have to help Dad those 3 days, and I'll pay him, you know, because I'm gone. But that's why I'm just really trying to work my ass off with Ed, try to get him where he needs to be. And, you know, it gives me some sort of reward, you know, at the end of this long month, as, you know, being able to go and relax with my friends. So Dad does not have a cast. You guys, he had a partial, so he had what's called a Hemi. And that's how A will get his, it's called a Hemi. So he literally had surgery, and that same day he had no restrictions on his hip. Oh, you do? You need to block. Yes, I do. So he has no restrictions on his hip. So even the minute he was out of surgery. So no, he's fine. And what was interesting yesterday when walking is that his issue was more with his right foot than it was his left. Really weird, right? Anyway, yes, it's exhausting, Sandy. And especially if it's you. You know, just one person. There's no way Dan could do this right alone. He would fucking die of a heart attack. Literally massive heart attack right there on the floor. Dan's very high anxiety. You know, he's ADHD. Very impulsive, very he only has a short fuse. And so the repetition of the sundowning is when it really pushes us to our max, and it really pushes our sanity. And anybody who knows, has dealt with this, knows that those are facts. There's nothing to sugarcoat. There's nothing to not talk about, because it's real life. You know, people want to criticize me for all sorts of my shit, my tone, my things, but Ed is thriving. Ed knows my tone. Ed's used to my tone. And if my tone was any other way, he would think something was wrong and I was abducted by aliens. So not only that, but with Ed, you have to be firm and direct. And most of you get it, but there's a small few of you who just don't understand. Yeah, Mark will probably, Mark's really good for during the day. So if I'm gone, Mark could come over and let Dan walk, that type of stuff, because he's gonna need to deal with that too. He doesn't think at all. He doesn't have a crush on me, you guys. He's known me since I was 5. So for those of you who think he, wants to have sexual relations with me or wants me to, whatever is crazy in your head, it's not at all that way. Again, I've known the man since I was 5 years old. He cares for me in a way like, he does. And now, of course, is payback for him. Not for anything, but it's not payback for anything other than this for my husband. And now at the end of the day, I'm doing it for Ed. Another thing. Remember how I talked to you about kissing him in the hospital and there was no, well, the nurses were busy trying to cath him trauma on the pee-pee. But, I told you I kissed him on the head. Well, last night I put him to bed and I kissed him on the forehead again. Natural, I don't know what the fuck. And Andrew said, what the fuck? Andrew was in with me. I said, all right, good night, Ed. You had a really good day. I was really proud of him. Ultimately, he was walking really good. We worked him for a good 10 minutes, up and down, up and down. And then I was so just proud of him. It was like a kid. It was like when your toddler finally starts walking, right? Because in my mind, L-Dog, whatever it is, he's a family member. It has nothing to do, he knows I'm part of the family. He's got nothing to do with a crush. He's just trying to give me niceties that as a family member would do. It's nothing creepy, but some of you take it a little bit too far. A little bit too far. I kissed him on the head again. And I had a witness. Andrew. He said, what the fuck? And I said, shit, I did it again. That was my 3rd time. I said, shit, Andrew, I did that the other night too, 2 times. And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, what the fuck? And then he went in and he's like, Dad, what the fuck? Mom just kissed Grandpa on the head. I said, I did. Shit, again, that's 3 times in less than a week. Fuck. So, wow. I don't know where that, it's just intuition, What's wrong with that is because I've never kissed a man in my whole entire life. 46 years I've never kissed him. And all of a sudden this last week, 4 days, I've kissed him 3 times. What the hell? Why? I think it's just a nurturing, thing. It's that mother, that's right, Sandy. It's that he's not a father figure. Nope. That's one thing you guys got to understand. It wasn't like that between me and Ed. I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand the man. I couldn't stand him. I never looked up to Ed. I never had anything but anger. And he wasn't, no. So it wasn't like he was a father figure to me. Absolutely fucking not. But now, right, because I have cared for him for 4 years, and he's fragile. Thank you, Flossie. And I just am proud of him and all the stuff that he's going through, he's accomplishing. And it's my nurturing nature, right? It's my, Teresa, get her, report Teresa, please. Get her the fuck out of here. I got her. She said you can't stand him and are abusing him. I'm abusing him, you guys. What the fuck is wrong with people? What the fuck is wrong with people? Anyway, was he good to my mom? No. In different ways, yes. But he was a pain in the fucking ass, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I was like, wow, the motherly instinct is strong. It is. And my son saw it. He saw my compassion. He almost fainted. Y'all, he almost fainted. You don't understand. It's not a normal thing for the family to do. And I'm doing it. Fuck. So, yeah, I know, Carol, I saw that. I'm always very proud of you. Melina, my mom is very, very proud of me. I know that without a doubt. I know she is, I think she re-died again though when I first started doing it. And I thought she was like in shock, and she was like, heavenly alive or whatever the fuck. And then she saw what I was doing, and she needed defibrillation because I don't think she really, she's still shocked. You know what I mean? She's still, no, we're not a hugging and kissing family. And Sarah, it's not just that, but I do it with my kids, but not with Ed. No, I think I hugged him one time, ever in my lifetime. And that was when my mom died and he broke down in the car. And I just felt so bad for him. And that was the only time I've seen him cry. And I hugged him from behind. I was sitting, when we got she hadn't died yet, but when we knew, we got the final results, it was in her brain. And at that point we knew. And we were driving, Dan was driving, and I was in the car because we had met them up at the hospital, Marshall Hospital up in Elder Hills. And we got the confirmation because we thought she had had a stroke. And we took her, and it was the, cancer all over, his brain. And so her brain. And so at that moment, we took Ed back home. She stayed in the hospital for some things, and he just all of a sudden just this weird sound, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Dan looked, and then we realized he was crying. Hi, Mr. Tan. Kimberly, I don't know what that means. Just because someone is sick doesn't mean the past changes. It is what it is. The past has changed, Kimberly. The past has changed. Don't tell me how the past doesn't change. The past does fucking change. Because if the past didn't change for me, Kimberly, he would not be here and I would be not caring for him. Period. So yeah, it is what it is. Anyhow, fuck, I'm irritating people. I've already seen bed alarms like 5 times on the left-hand side, and I'm just not responding to that. So anyhow, well, thank you, Kimberly. Sorry for yelling at you, but it looked like that, so I apologize. I make mistakes too. I jump to conclusions. I aware that hospice will provide a lot of help. Janice, I'm also aware that hospice is not going to help us right now. Not right now. And I know it's more than just death, but again, California, it's very difficult for these programs. It's very difficult for these programs. I, Flossie, have surprised myself, especially with the kisses. When I think back 4 years ago and I think where I was and I look to myself today, completely different with my relationship from 4 years ago when we took him into now. And I'm kissing him. I mean, what does that tell you? It's that motherly instinct in me. I probably wouldn't kiss him on a normal day, but because he's injured, he's hurt, and it's just that thing. You tuck your babies in at night and you give them a kiss. Yes, we share Josh. Yeah. Yes, we go way back. So my mom and Ed met when I was 5. Yeah. My mom and Ed met when I was 5. And they married, about when I was 9-ish. I don't remember the timeline 100%. She had Josh when I was 10. And then the family started hanging out more because Carrie ended up having Aaron, her first child, and Josh and Aaron are like 6 months apart, so they grew up together for the most part. So that's when really the family started coming together. Yeah. So you married your brother? No. Yeah. No, I didn't marry my brother. Don't give advice unless I just, and I know you guys are trying to help, but can you imagine how many people over and over and over and over and over and over and over again say the same things? And I'm just an impatient person, honestly, with those things. Like Dan can take more patience with that stuff. That stuff just drives me bonkers, bonkers. She is cute, my Millsy. So all the F-bombs, you can't do that, D-Hay. You can't say awesome caregiver, all the F-bombs are so off-putting. If you understand why you can't do that, because that's a double negative. I mean, it's like, what do they call it? I can't even think. But you can't say you're a good caregiver and fuck the fucking F-bombs. The F-bombs are part of me. It's part of my communication with you guys in the morning. If you don't like my fucking F-bombs, don't be here. But don't tell me it's off-putting, because I could give 2 fucks. Right? So, I don't care. Yeah, Lisa, I mean, sometimes you just have to walk away. So no Tylenol. She gave him Tylenol last night. That was the first time we gave it to him in 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, you guys have no fucking clue what a tank this guy is. F-bombs are my survival mechanism. And I'm here for the F-bombs. You swear too much. I'm fucking sorry, PJ. You think I fucking care what you think? No, the fuck I don't. Anyway, Josh is my half brother, yes. So, Betty, I have 4 accounts on TikTok because the trolls like to take me down. So those aren't bogus, but you have to know you're on the right ones. Dan only has 1 account. 1 account. We both have 1 account on YouTube. He has 1 account on TikTok, and we have 1 account each on the other socials. So make sure you are following the right pages. Oh, my heart has changed with situations. I know, it's crazy. Yes, Dan's mom and I are fine. I actually wish she would come in and move in with us, right? I wish she would move in with us. I think she would really be happy here, but I don't think she can be happy with Ed here. But I would love her here because I think we would get along great, and it would be my pleasure to take care of her. So was Dan your half brother? No. If Dan was my half brother, that would mean there was blood relation, and that's against the law in California. I don't know if you know that, but we share Josh. My mom, who's my blood, Ed, who's Dan's blood, had Josh. So Josh shares blood of my mom and me, right? Because I got my mom's blood too, and Ed, which is Dan's blood, in Josh. So we share Josh. Yes, me and Dan share Josh. And of course, I'm closest with Josh, as you all know, because he's like my brother. He's my mama's son. So hence, he's my brother. Hi, JR. So, the horrible comments on Facebook. Yeah, you just can't. When you're ready to fight somebody, go on Facebook and fight. But no, they come back with a vengeance. So it's not like you can make a comment on Facebook and they're going to leave you alone. It's almost like they have radar. They know somebody responded and they're waiting to just come back and attack. I don't know, CYC. It just gives me the crazy. My mom was the second wife. Josh is my brother. I mean, he's my brother. And sometimes I treat him like I'm his mama and his brother. No, I don't treat him. I treat him like he's my brother. Yeah, sister. Yeah, sister. Whatever I am. Who am I? I don't know. I'm still catching up on sleep. Let's see, Facebook horrible comments. Yeah. At Facebook, they all have their own, his mom girl. I'm a mom girl. I'm a sister mom. I'm a sister mom to Josh, I think, there's just more of a tie between us, I think. You know what I mean? Because our mom is no longer here, right? So we're the only 2 keeping my mom's memory alive. You know what I mean? So I think that's why there's an extra bond between Josh and I. And we lived together for 10 years, I lived with Josh till I was 19. Anyhow, yeah, Sadie. We were raised by the same woman, that's for fucking sure. And we were around the same man. And Josh has a lot of those characteristics as well. And I like to make fun of him for those things as well. Yeah. I know, Emily, it's horrible. And now they are making new accounts. They are now making new accounts and preying off of Ed's illness, right? So when people come on and say, you exploit your father-in-law, no, the people who have stolen our footage are exploiting Ed because they're doing it for financial gain. We are doing it for our journey, and because this is what our life is, and yes, for financial gain. They just have no ties to Ed, don't take care of him, and they're using it specifically to try to make a buck off of them. So what you need to do, a little bit. Okay. Ed is my stepdad. Oh no, hair doctor. I literally married my stepbrother. I did. Can you believe that? Wow. Who knew? Yeah, he had to yell and shit on that. Like it was like something illegal that we were doing. I'm not going to get into why I disliked Ed. It's just not my purpose today. I don't want to focus on the past. I just want to kind of just have fun and not worry about why? I mean, it's a lot of people who are here faithfully always hear it and have to repeat it. It's nothing too complicated. I didn't like him. He's a difficult man. A lot of people didn't like him. They loved him, but they don't have to like him. He's hard. He's not well liked because he was so difficult. He's a difficult man. End of story. Was he happy about it? So I didn't really, it's like, you guys, come on. The family knew, but they didn't know. The family, it wasn't like we were hiding it, but we just weren't like out there with it. Does that make sense? So they knew, right? They knew. And when we finally told them, for sure, my mom knew early on because we'll leave it at that. And she just wasn't, she was worried, how's this gonna last? You're blah, blah, blah. She's blah.
What's the trick on pressing that button, the white thing on the back?
On the back, you slide it. So that white button, you push it. So make sure.
Push.
Yeah. Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta show Dan. So that blue piece that goes in and out, it goes to the side. Fancy. Would you ever know? Anyway. I know, JR. Seriously. I didn't realize I was on here this long. But yeah, so anyhow, I had to help Dan with the calf. It's a little testy. And when you're not used to it, it feels like you're not gonna. I'll never get into a relationship like that, all related. Nobody's asking you to. Why the hell, why would you write a comment like that? I don't really know why, what benefit you think that does. Does it make you feel better? Out of curiosity? I just don't know. I'm just trying to learn how you trolls or people who just have misery in their lives, what makes you think that writing something like that is somewhat normal and should be shared, right? It doesn't make sense to me why you feel the need to share your ugliness with me. It just doesn't make any sense. Thank you. I love me some crystals, y'all. So I don't know, it just baffles me. It baffles me that people feel the need to just be hateful and ugly. It just doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. We have been married for 28 years, almost 28. It'll be 28 years in July, y'all, but we've been a lot longer than that. So we've been together over 30 years together. It does, Stacy, 100. Hi, Jaren. I know, but I do because Laura, the brain is very fascinating to me. You know what I mean? The brain is very fascinating to me, and people's ignorance and people's meanness is like, I want to study that. So I kind of really want to learn why people, say those things, thinking it's important for people to know. Like, how do they not feel, how do they not have any semblance of guilt for being so ugly? You know what I mean? Like, if I could study
brain of somebody who has hate, like a mass killer, or somebody who beats kids, or I want to know, or a troll on Facebook or socials. I would love to just study their brain waves and see what makes them the way they are, right? So I know it's a bad lag. Did y'all get rest last night? Yes. So 2 weeks full time. They're dead inside. It's a mental illness. It could be. It could be. It could be a mental illness. Sometimes I just take things for granted and think they have a brain, but they really don't. I know, guys, it's good right now, so we'll just go until we can. The more our skin seems to melt at the bone. Yes, so commenting on how my skin's melting off my bone. I appreciate that. That's grateful help for me on Monday when I'm tired. And you know how many comments I got yesterday that people were like, oh my God, this has aged you. Yeah, it probably has. But again, why do you feel the need to tell somebody that? Like, does it make you feel better about yourself? You know what I mean? Bye, JR. I should go out and dance in the rain. I got too much to do today. I got PT today, just watching me count. No. I have PT today. I have acupuncture tomorrow. And then I go in for my procedure on Wednesday. So I got a busy week this week. And I got to help get Grandpa up out of bed. I got to do a little tuck and clean and fold and move and wipe. I don't know. Yes, everybody comes to the house for Ed. Yeah. Is he trying to get up at night? Not really, but he's very fidgety. Asking YouTube if you can have a mod. I have mods. Yeah. I have a hysteroscopy. I call it a hysteroscopy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And then I'm getting a IUD put in because my periods have been god awful. So, yeah. Lisa, I've kissed him 3 times. Don't push it, girl. They're mean because of jealousy. Maybe. I don't know. I'm autistic and speak my mind. And that's okay, Ozzy. But I speak my mind too. Whether you mean it or not. So, yeah. Isn't that crazy? Perimenopause. Yeah. I keep believing more girl Demi get snipped. Dan, he is snipped. Dan is snipped. I'm on birth control just to help my hormones and keep me regular and try to not bleed to death when my monthly comes. But my body wants to bleed to death, so, and I'm not a candidate for the ablation. So I already checked with that. So don't give me that suggestion, please. And the IUD is the best option for me. The non-hormonal IUD is a no-no for perimenopause. The Mirena is what you use in perimenopause because there's progesterone only in there. Progesterone helps with the lining. Again, professionals, I am seeking medical help. I am not doing this on my own, right? I'm not putting the IUD in, nor am I scraping out my fibroids. I am literally being seen by a medical doctor. Yeah, a medical doctor. So they have suggested the Mirena OB. My doctor's an OB for Kaiser. Went to school to study. Anyhow, so the Mirena is what they use because the progesterone, the non-hormonal is not good because it irritates the lining and you bleed more. But the progesterone IUD is what works for all this right now, Tonight, ABC special Menopause Revolution, Oprah. Fuck Oprah. Oprah pisses me off. I'm thinking about changing. I've been with Kaiser forever, Benji. You just always know you have to be your biggest advocate, okay? And that's true for anything. People always bitch about Kaiser, but they're all the same. You just have to make sure you advocate for yourself, plain and simple. Here's the thing. The best thing is so far, I haven't had to push for much with my doctors. They have been like, girl, let's try this. So anyhow, I've been lucky, but I've heard nightmares. I haven't had a nightmare yet. What's the best medicine to take for? A lot of people say the HRT if you're not on anything. I bled a lot right before I lost it. I was 45 my last period. Yeah, Oprah just, I don't know, all of a sudden she bugs me. I don't know why. I used to love Oprah. I used to watch her, but all of a sudden she gives me the ick. I don't know why. She gives me the ick. So and I don't know why. I can't tell you. I had a hysterectomy at 31. No, I'm on birth control right now. So I'm getting the Mirena on Wednesday. Yeah. Kaiser is a medical, it's basically a whole medical establishment. So you have to seek medical care within your Kaiser. Yeah. I'm on the pill too. Yeah. So I'm excited to get off the pill because what I've known, Emily, and this is the reason why we're doing an IUD, since I'm already going to be a little bit loopy. They're going to just pop that puppy in. The birth control, I'm establishing they're not helping my periods. I'm getting horrible, gosh darn cramps. And I am just bleeding like a sieve. And I don't bleed, I bleed breakthrough bleeding throughout the month. So it's like, why am I on this if it's not helping? So that's why she's like, let's put the Mirena in and get you 5 years, and hopefully by then you'll be done. Not 40, they were great. That's called disconcernment. She's part of the elite. With Oprah. Yeah. I'm on low estrogen too. I was. But I just, yeah. So sassy one. Yes. What we go through is horrible. So this is what I don't understand. I'm going to tell you. I just had a procedure. You guys remember the endometrial biopsy, right? When I started this whole shebang to figure out what was going on in my uterus. They had a pre-screen for endometriosis and cancer, endometrial cancer. And then you go down the list of things and then you do the ultrasound, vaginal to try to, but you have to start the process. With Kaiser, it's like one step. You have to do one step before you get to the second step, before you get to the third step. So once I did the endometrial biopsy, fucking hurts, right? They stick something up your cervix and they have to open it and then they have to scrape. It was the worst fucking pain I had ever experienced. And they don't give you any meds for that. There's no loopy medicines, no anti-anxiety medicines, nothing. Just, yeah, let's go in and let's scrape and just, breathe. Yeah, breathe. I'm ready. I mean, my leg was hanging off and I was like, oh my God, 5 more scrapes. Oh, fuck. But, and now it's weird is that now I go in for this procedure, right? You get an IUD, there's nothing that goes in there. You're just up there, you're cramping, and they just push it in your cervix and fucking there you go. And we're in pain, right? So it's barbaric. It really is barbaric. If you think about what women have to go through and the lack of anesthesia or a medicine we get to have to make it through those is god awful. And so, yeah, if it was a man's sedation, and that's what's weird. But with this procedure, they gave me a little pill, right? And they said, oh, yeah, don't move. Okay. Oh my God. I was like this. Oh my God. Sorry, I have to move my leg. She's like, girl, that's okay. Just breathe. Yeah, you'll never forget. So, and that's what I don't understand. So I get this little red pill. It's a PAM. It's a benzo, and it's supposed to just relax me more. It's just supposed to relax me. They say high anxiety people, it's like, it just relaxes you. People who aren't as high anxiety, they get a little bit more tired and sleepy. So she said, while I'm in there, I'll just pop it in, right? Because you're already there and, no big deal. So, it's barbaric. I don't understand women's health with those issues because it's not nice and it's not fair to us. And how they decipher when you can have something and when you can't is beyond me because I could have used that pill. I've never taken it before. I could have used that pill for that biopsy. Come on. That was ridiculous. So I don't know. It is what it is. I have Kaiser and I hate them for care. They never do anything for me. Yeah, and Kimberly, that's what I said. It could happen with anything. You have to always be your advocate, you guys. And I can't stress that enough. People want to point fingers at Kaiser and people say Kaiser's bad. You hear all sorts of things. I've never had any issues. I've had good luck with Kaiser, and I've had good luck with Andrew's health. I've had good luck with my health. I haven't had a fight too much, right? I've never had to fight too much. And some people have bad problems, but those are doctors. It's not Kaiser per se. It's just some doctors just, want to push things off because they have caseloads or whatever the hell it is. I don't believe it's just Kaiser. I think it's everywhere. Rocky has Kaiser too. And, she's having issues. And I won't go into her issues, but, her doctor, her OB's like, just, oh, here, take this, you'll be fine, where mine's like, no, we're going to start the gamut. It's just back to, who you have, and hopefully you have a good doctor. But you always have to advocate for yourself. You always have to. That's just post-COVID. Post-COVID, it's gotten worse, so you really have to do it. So I'm not opposed to it. Did Ed have an affair with my mother? No, stop reading the fucking tabloids, Simo. Stop going and reading everybody's fucking shit. No, stop it. Enough. I just, this ugliness that people want to spread drama about unfactual things is disgusting. Yeah. And a lot of people have left the medical field for that very reason, right? A lot of people have left the medical field. COVID, once COVID happened, nurses retired, doctors retired. People were like, fuck no, we're not doing this anymore, right? So, yeah. It's people who start the drama and people who want to carry on the drama. That's all it is. And it just irritates me, How many times do we have to say, Ed was faithful to my mother. My mother wasn't in the picture when they got a divorce. My mother wasn't the cause of their divorce. Ed was the cause of their divorce. Period. Doctors don't even... Yeah. So I went to all supplements and herbs. That's good. Female gyno for me. I've never been to a man gyno, and I would never go to a man gyno. It just leaves me weird. It just makes me feel weird. Yeah. And Janice, it is. You have to advocate for yourself. And my mom, was the same way, especially when you have cancer and, those types of things. It was like, Mom, you have to get, push it. I don't stay home because I'm afraid to get sick. It's people. People have gotten so ugly in the last 5 years, actually the last 10 years. People have gotten uglier. Like the ugliness, it's like people had the permission to be ugly, right? You had ugly, but then we got ugly. I don't read, I'm Scottish. I simply try to understand. Yeah. I mean, it's drama. It's people trying to start drama. My son left medical because of COVID. Yes. Yes. Ed's doing better. Thank you very much. So yeah, so sorry. I lose my mind with things. It just, you can't, it's hard to apologize because you're foreign or you're not in this country and you're trying to understand. If you can't differentiate between, drama and facts, I just can't. Just irks me, it irks me that people want to create that shit. So anyhow, that's enough of my little rant, but is my mom still living? No. Dead as a doornail. She's been dead for 19 years. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Ignore them is the idea. Irish Susie, I'm going to tell you something. You can't ignore all the ugly. There's so much ugly. There's so many rumors. There's so many just unfactual things being spread. People think they know. People who've dramatized situations that we have shared, made it worse. You can't ignore it, right? It's just impossible. If you were in my shoes for one day, you would understand that it's really hard because you want to try to make people understand. You want to try to make people less ugly. It's probably not going to help all, but it does help some, honestly, because there are people that have come back. All of a sudden, I'm magical. After seeing me in the hospital with Ed, all of a sudden, they changed their tune with me. Danielle, I finally get you. Oh, why? Why do you finally get me? Because you finally had a moment of empathy for Ed and you saw what I did for the first time. I'm sorry. I do that to him all the time. Hi, Rhonda. And it irritates me, and sometimes when I correct people on these things, the people who tell me to ignore, they come back and they said, you know what? I gave you a chance. I'm sorry. I jumped the gun on you, and that's what I try to teach. Self-awareness, fucking awareness. Because it's important that the hospitals are calling nurses back that quit. They should. I mean, maybe they're coming back. Things have changed. So many great I know, Janice. It's hard. I'm strong for the most part, Sassy. You know, I mean, we all have our breaking points and we all have our moments. You know what I mean? There, quite obviously, he knows. He knows, Rhonda. How's soccer going? Oh, I'm sorry, TT. That's horrible. Hi, Kay. Lynn. Started watching 4 weeks ago. Aw. Well, welcome and welcome to the crazy. Welcome to the crazy. When I get back, when things kind of normalize down, I'll start doing I should be able to do my member live tomorrow for y'all. Quick little spurts. You know, time now is different. You know, we have to we're still trying to get into the groove a little bit. People are so wrong. Yeah, people, it does, Sassy. It does. Thanks, Rebecca. It's hard, life in general is hard. And the one thing I try to be is honest with you guys about me and what I do and how I lose my mind and all my flaws, because I'm not afraid to share them, because I self-reflect. I know when I'm not doing the right thing. I know when I'm saying the wrong thing. I know when I'm being impatient, right? But I allow myself some breaks sometimes based on my situations, my sleeping, and all those things. The stress with Dan or the stress of Dan, I absorbed all that stuff. And I have a lot to do. I have a lot on my plate. My husband's very lucky. And I am too in other ways, but I have a lot of responsibilities that has just be put on me, right? So I'm not only just caring for Ed, I'm cleaning, I'm doing laundry, I'm fixing things, I'm doing the yard, I'm, taking care of the dogs. Coda's a fucking allergic dog. I have to take care of her. I've got to pay the bills. I have to do the accounting. I have to pay taxes. My rental just gave me notice in all this drama. They've been there for 4 years and they've been the best tenants. And now I have to try to get that in line. I do all that stuff. So trying to fit everything in and doing my business with social media and going to Vegas, because of what we've built together. I mean, it's pretty rad, right? But it's also daunting at times, especially when you are responsible for a human, and a human now that's had a fall and needs extra caregiving and trying to maintain everything else that has to be done. It's crazy. And sometimes I think, how the fuck, can I do this? How the hell, and if I hear one more time by your, yeah, if I hear there, and I just have I don't handle things, the constant suggestions of things that we've already talked about or we've already thought about, but we're not doing those things because it doesn't work or it's not going to be feasible for Ed. And it just drives me nuts that people just don't have or think about those things that we've had him for 4 years. You don't think we've thought about all those things? We know Ed better than anybody else. And what works for you may not work for Ed. But give us the benefit of the doubt, that we do things and what we do and what we've tried and what we're not going to try and what we are going to do. It's exhausting to me. And every day it's different. Today, when I see it, it pisses me off, right? Because it just irritates me. So yes, I do a lot, I do a lot. And so my life has changed. And so sometimes I try just to get people to look and open their fucking eyes, because we have way too many people in this society who walk around very judgmental, full of opinions, miserable, and like to attack. I'm going to try to enlighten them. I am going to try my best to enlighten them and throw it back at them. Period. Because you know what? If we don't do it, who's going to do it? And why do we keep allowing people to do that? Ignoring, to me, means you're not addressing the real issue at hand. Ignoring means you're giving them the silent approval to keep being an asshole. And I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. Because fuck that. Period. Concentrate on the ones who care and just, concentrate on the people who give you attention. Of course I fucking concentrate on the people who give me attention. But my job is my job. My job is to enlighten as well as be here for you guys. So you guys, come on, cut me some grace for once in your life. And understand who I am as a person. Because if you understood who I was as a person, you wouldn't have to tell me those things, right? You would automatically know, right, who I am and how I respond and why I do it, instead of telling me to ignore. Ignore does nothing but trigger me. I'm not Dan. I don't have the patience for ignorance and stupidity and anger and miserable people. I like to throw back in their face what they think is okay to do. And it's not okay, whether it's to me or anybody else. And if they're doing it to me, they're treating everybody else that way. Yes, I'm 93, Jacob. I'm 93. And then you have idiots like that. Are you 87? Yes, I'm 87. So anyway, sorry. He's trained. Yeah, he went to school to tolerate ignorance. Yeah, he went to school to be a Switzerland, not me. I went to school to say fuck you, and you have no idea what you're talking about. And I am also almost 51. I have to remind my husband that sometimes too. I'm like, bruh, I'm 51. I'm not 12. I've lived long enough and can make decisions without your help, right? Or your direction. You know, every time he would leave the hospital, he would call me and be like, okay, so when blah, 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 blah. And I would get so angry at him. I would say, why are you telling me that? And he's like, why are you being so mean? And I said, because you're acting like I'm not around this. I'm not one of your siblings. I'm here every day. You don't think I know what to do? Let me tell you what I do that works that you probably wouldn't do, right? And those are the things that would just drive me nuts. Don't call to tell me what to do. I'm here every night. You want to be here? Come here, right? But until I'm going to care for him the way I want to care for him. Don't talk to me like a child. And he does that, right? You're actually one of his siblings. Oh, here we go, little Debbie. You're trying to be a little cute, aren't you? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Little Debbie. Don't be an idiot. So anyway, no, I don't sugarcoat. What's the point of sugarcoating things? I used to be a big sugarcoater, Joe. I used to be a big sugarcoater, but why? And sometimes, like, when friends ask me something and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm a little abrupt here. I'm not as abrupt with friends, right? So, you know, I probably am a little bit more sugarcoating with certain people than I would be with others, but on here I'm plain and direct. I'm a little bit more direct on here. Oh, thanks, Ashley. Betsy's doing amazing. Betsy's doing amazing. My husband does the same thing. Sean? Is that Sean? Or is that a new Sean? So Betsy, I've been doing Betsy through this whole thing. I haven't really been baking as much, but I've been Betsying because I want to keep my starter alive. So it's a tough job. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to go because I think Ed's starting to get up and I have something to do really quick before I get lost in the caregiving for Ed out here. So I had a whole bunch of twine, old twigs from wisteria that I need to get because it's garbage day. So I got to go pick that up before we get Ed up so I can feed him and all that stuff. Never sugarcoat. Yeah, I say it the way I need to say it. You have two Seans. Okay. Are you female? I can't see. The other Sean is male. So, and you spell it the same way. So now I'm confused. You too, Rhonda. I got it. Now it's like, it's hard because we're still not in a rhythm, you know, and Dan has to walk because I have an appointment. So that's why I got on early. I think my plan from right now, since I'm getting up so early to relieve the caregivers, that I'm going to do my thing and try to get on earlier. So some of you are going to be surprised by my earliness because I get so tired. After being up an hour, I'm like, okay, I got to get this workout in. And then it gives us time to Ed to stay in bed, Dan to do what he's got to do. And then by the time I'm done, we can do a switcheroonie. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. As always, remember the people who are here daily and appreciate me and are here for what I do and for listening to me yap. I appreciate you. And I say that I think every day, almost every day, I try to tell you that. But just, you know, try to be a little bit open-minded. About how you respond to people in general. Sometimes they get tired of just hearing the repetition, you know, especially when there's in such a vulnerable state, you know, it's hard. And, you know, I'm going to lose my mind sometimes, right? I'm going to lose my mind because I'm human and I'm going to tell you how I feel and I'm going to misinterpret some of you because I know it's hard when you're writing, you know, to make things sound appropriate, but sometimes they come off gruff. And if I happen to catch it, I will respond. And correct me if I'm wrong. That's okay. And I'll admit when I'm wrong. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here always. Even the trolls, I thank you too. Remember, you are important, you are worthy, and you matter. And your feelings are just that. Love you guys.